Today we're going to rank mana creatures, all them mana dorks, any creature that taps for mana on a tier list. I'm going to start off with a classic. We got Llanowar Elves. A little bit of vanilla looking, but hey, 1 mana for a 1/1 creature that's going to help curve into your 3-drops. It's still not that bad. There's really not a whole lot of creatures that even act like this. So Llanowar Elves, I think, even just tapping for a singular green mana, pretty good. You know, you look at every single card in Magic the Gathering that's 1 mana and can tap for mana. It's pretty limited. I think there's less than, like, there's always a catch usually to them. They're gonna add like colorless, they're gonna add something else. You gotta sack food to get that mana. Now it's still a little bit crappier compared to, oh man, how, I guess we'll just get the front of his face. When you really look closely at the Llanowar Elves, not a pleasant sight to see, to be honest. Not that pleasant. Oh, let's make this a little bit bigger. Or is it as big as we can make it? No, a little bit bigger. There we go. I will put Llanowar Elves nicely square in the A tier. All right, next up, let's take a look at Dem's Noble Hierarch. The noblest of hierarchs. This was undisputedly one of the most playable mana dorks, probably for at least, yeah, I would say about 15-ish years. Can't remember when this thing came out exactly. But for 1 mana, 0/1 human druid with exalted. So it looks like it's a 0/1 like Birds of Paradise. Not so fast, actually. It's got the ability exalted, which means it's virtually a 1/2 creature. Now, it doesn't tap for anything, but it does tap for the most important colors: green, white, or blue, which makes it a superb creature to put in every deck. So this is basically like Llanowar Elves Plus. But the only disadvantage is it's a human, it's not an elf, so it doesn't have that elf synergy, but it has that human synergy if you're looking for that human synergy around there. The noblest of hierarchs, I believe that this is an S tier card. A beautiful mana dork. Still good even to today. First super chat of the day we got from Balder. Thank you so much. Okay, Ignoble Hierarch. We're gonna take the other side of this coin. Oh, I just have to go back and take a look at this one. This card has not been around for very long, actually. It's been around for 2 years. Unfortunately, came in an era where Noble Hierarch was losing its own power, but still actually is very, very good. Ignoble Hierarch, a green. It's basically the Jund version of Noble Hierarch. Still has Exalted. Now it hits the alternate colors that Bant would hit. Instead, this one hits Jund. Saw a lot of play. Oh, was it in Goblin decks? I don't know how many Jund Goblin decks there were, but I know it has seen like a good chunk of play, and definitely if you're looking for some mana acceleration, I would look no further than our Ignoble Hierarch friend. I would also put this in S tier. Very, very good mana dork. As we go through these cards, there's gonna be a lot of mana creatures that are just stone cold unplayable. So I gotta set the bar. I would say this is not that high, you know. These exalted 3-color creatures. It's like a triome. You know, you gotta look at these creatures like it's a triome. It's a triome, and it buffs your other creatures when you attack. A 2/2 can attack for 3/3. A 4/4 is now a 5/5. So they're very, very good on the attack. Okay, Bacon Catbug. Selvala, Explorer returned. They forgot to add as an instant a la Lion's Eye Diamond, so since the mana it makes is random, it can break the game and force a rewind. Really? Okay, so we have a 3-mana 2/4 Elf Scout with Parlay. Tap. Each player reveals the top card of their library. For each non-land card revealed this way, add a green to your green, and you gain a singular life point. Then each player draws a card. That is so weird. So, where would you even get this? So this curves into your 5-drops, I guess? So curves into your 5-drops. It's not really a good source of mana. It is a good source of life gain and card draw. So for each non-land card revealed this way, you add a green, and then each player... So everyone draws a card. Huh. Everyone draws a card. For each non-land card revealed this way, we had to get a green. So the odds are good. It's like 2/3. So in a commander game, your odds are 2 out of 3 4 ways, and it might even be like 3 out of 4, because you know those commander players, they never like to add lands to their deck, or like more than half their lands are just mana rocks or of some sort. So I could see this thing being somewhat useful, but sort of unreliable as like a ramp card. But it's quite good otherwise. I could be not giving this card enough credit. Like, it's better as value than mana ramp, because I really like the life. I really like the life gain out of this and the card draw, but everyone gets that card as well. This is not a one-sided thing. This is like a group hug-like card. So it's not bad, but I don't know if it's good. Commander community, please don't crucify me for this. Don't do it. Rated Lex. Blood Pet. This was probably good 20 years ago. Blood Pet. For a black 1/1. Thrall. Sacrifice Blood Pet, add a black to your mana pool. That's right. We are... This is the mana dork that effectively sacrifices itself for the greater good of a singular spell. I don't even know if I'm even going to put that in the B, or sorry, the C territory. I'm actually going to put that in... I'm going to put it in the C territory. You get 1 shot out of this thing, and that's it. It's like worse than a Dark Ritual. I don't... Erland is like, I just think they're neat. Yeah, well, there's a lot of neat cards out there. Okay, next up, let's take a look at... Ooh, Abzo's Gigantha. This is a weird one. This card sees so much play, but for not really being a mana dork, it's just where it's being a companion. So it's a Gruul 4 generic for a 5/5 elemental elk. No card in your starting deck has more than one of the same mana symbol in its mana cost. If this card is your companion, you may cast it once from outside the game. And you tap for Wooburg. This mana can't be spent to pay generic mana cost. Most people just play this in their deck because it's free. So if you're up against a deck with a lot of removal, just throw a Gigantha in your sideboard. Don't know how commander players feel about this card, but this actually sees so much play that I have to give it S tier. It's like, it's probably going to be the worst mana dork, but probably the most played card in this list. Maybe not the most played, but this is heavily played. This sees play all over the damn place. Look, this Multiverse Legends version. Oh, sorry, that's... It was like $200. Like, why is it $200? Okay, even this version is like $10. And you can't have more than one in your deck. You're only gonna have one in the command zone. Sorry, in your sideboard. Okay, next super chat come from Kagan. We've got Urlock, Scourge of Thrash. Would make an interesting commander. Oops, where did I go? What have I done? Urlock. Well, you can make it a commander if you really want to. It is legendary. All right, it's a 4 mana 4/4 vigilance. A player losing unspent mana causes that player to lose that much life. That much life. Mana burn. Okay, a player, and then you pay 1 tap. Each player adds 3 Jund mana. It is pretty good. That's not bad. And it has vigilance, so you get to attack for 4, and then you get to add the mana later. And if nobody uses the mana on their turn, so like, no, if they're tapped out, it doesn't matter. I guess what you have to do is play some sort of card that says players can only play their spells on their turn, and then you'll really burn them out with this. This card's neat. I think this card is really flexible. And I really like that even though it's a 4 mana card, it helps bridge the gap to your 7 and 8 mana cards. And it's not like your opponents can play the 8 mana cards. I give this an 8. I think this is an 8 tier card. I like this card a lot. This is a really cool card. Really cool. Just do it at the end step. Yeah, I mean, it forces people, if people want to use the mana, they have to play instants. But just play some card that says, like, players cannot play spells on your turn. And then they can't do anything. Then they just lose the mana. And they just get burned to the face. Elixir's Chandra's Ember Cat? I didn't know Chandra had a cat. Chandra lit their cat on fire. That's illegal. Okay, it's a red 1 generic 2/2 cat elemental. Tap, add red, spend this mana only to cast an elemental spell or a Chandra planeswalker spell. This is terrible. This is so niche. I think it's a little niche. It has to be an elemental spell or a Chandra Planeswalker spell. Are we trying to ramp into Fury or something? Well, it's not the worst card I've ever seen. At least it's a Grizzly Bear. C tier. Don't touch the Ember Cat. She burns. Baron, thank you very much for your super chat. The Loam Dryad. Loam Dryad. We have a green 1/2 Dryad Horror. Tap an untapped creature you control. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Oh, neat. It has to tap an untapped. Oh no, you tap it. I thought you were untapping a tapped creature. Instead, we are tapping it. It's like a weird Springleaf Drum. It's literally the green Springleaf Drum. Right? I will play a creature. I will tap my Loam Dryad and the creature to get mana. It's literally the creature version of a Springleaf Drum. Well, Springleaf Drum is not bad. It's not the worst thing in the world. But it is a creature version, so if it dies, everything dies. B tier. In fact, I might even say it's slightly underrated. Do we get mana of any color? Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Pretty cool. Waking Dead asks, does Suchi Cave Guard count? Suchi Cave Guard. We have an 8 mana 8/8 construct with Vigilance and Ward 4. When Suchi Guard dies, add 8 colorless mana. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana. I would say no. We didn't tap it from, I mean, you know, I'm going a pretty loose even with the Blood Pet. I just wouldn't count this one. You know, a little too situational to make work. Does Heritage Druid count? I would count it. Thank you very much for this super chat, J-Hope. Heritage Druid. It's actually busted. So that's nothing. This is a green 1/1 elf. Tap 3 untap elves you control. Add green to your mana pool. You do need to play this in an elf deck, but all combo elf decks require Heritage Druid because you get a bunch of mana, play your elves, play more elves, tap them for more mana to draw more cards and play more elves, and then the game gets out of control, and then somehow something Craterhoof Behemoth, and then you win the game. This is an S tier card. That is an S tier mana dork if I ever saw one. We'll go Tony the Pokemon guy. Elves of the Deep Shadow. The Matador. Hold on, no, is it maybe it's Elves of Deep Shadow? That's right, it's Elves of Deep Shadow. Green 1/1. Tap out a black to your mana pool. Elves of Deep Shadow does a single point of damage to you. Now, the good news is if you're in Jund, this card's great. That is not a problem at all. If you're not in Jund, well, it's awkward. And of course, for you Commander players, you guys need to be in Jund. You're not even allowed to play you're not even allowed to play your Elves of Deep Shadow at all. Look away. I don't really have anything to say about this. This is actually just another Llanowar Elves-like card. I'm gonna put in the A tier. 1 mana ramp. Nothing wrong with that. Really, the bar is actually quite low here. But it's still effective, even in 2024. Next super chat coming from Bacon Catbug. We've got the OG Bolt the Bird, the Birds of Paradise. Now, what puts this above and beyond things like Llanowar Elves, Elves of Deep Shadow, is because it adds 1 mana of any color. The green 0/1 flyer. Oh, by the way, it does fly. That is relevant. There are games where you have, like, Birds of Paradise, and you have a bunch of noble hierarchs sitting on the battlefield, and you're just attacking in the air with your Birds of Paradise with Exalted. You can block the hierarchs on the ground, but you can't block the Birds of Paradise. Birds of Paradise votes for flying. It votes very well. All right, Birds of Paradise is an S tier level card. Well, I really like that CEDH can still play this card. I think that's really cool. Birds of Paradise is a little power crept out of just regular competitive one-on-one Magic, but Birds of Paradise still has a home in Commander, and I think it's so good still in that format that it deserves to be S tier. Okay, next up. Pacers fan forever with Delighted Halfling. Yeah, this is the new hotness on the block. A green 1/2. Now it adds colorless, but the key thing is it can add mana of any color and make it uncounterable. I hate that part of it. So if you're trying to beat counterspell decks, Delighted Halfling is the deal. Well, how much more beaten down are we going to beat the counterspells? You know, I thought counterspells were already dead at the point where they, I don't know, Veil of Summer. Like, how did they destroy counterspells up to this point? So a bunch of uncountable creatures. We got the creature lands. We have a bunch of free spells now that can be played at instant speed. Uncounterable spells. Mana dorks that make things uncounterable. This card's really strong. And it deserves to be in the S tier. Well deserved. I hate that card. Next up. Next up is a super chat. Dark Star Ashura with Raphaelos. God. This is a funny card because, like, this card's terrible. Like, one-on-one. Like, you're never... Like, in one-on-one Magic, this card is just stone cold garbage. Anyway, it's a green, 2/1. Tap, add a green your mana for each force you control. Like, it's perfectly legal in every format except Commander. Where I guess this is broken only because it's your Commander. And another thing is, like, in Commander, you guys are like, don't touch my lands. If you touch my lands, I'm never coming over again. I'll never forgive you. Or I won't invite you again. So because of that dynamic, like, the forests are untouchable. And because the forests are untouchable, Raphaelos is good. But, you know, I don't know, if you let Armageddon go around, if you're like, people are not so upset by Strip Mine and Wasteland, I think this card would be a lot weaker. But as is the dynamic in Commander, the card is actually insane. So we can put an S tier. We have a lot of S tier, like, I might have to move some of these things down. But, like, these are really good cards. The Ban List All-Star. Jess is like, I haven't got a card, but, like, this show just started. I haven't got a card. It's S tier. Circle of Dreams Druid. I have a feeling you're trolling me. I have a feeling. Oh, well, I wouldn't say this is S tier. It's a good card, though. So we got the green, 2/1 Elf Druid. Circle of Dreams Druid taps to add a green for each creature you control. So it's like, it's Gaia's Cradle on a creature. I think it's a banger. But I also think it's a little clunky. It costs 3 mana, and you do have to have enough creatures on the battlefield, and it's a creature itself, so unfortunately it at least adds mana for itself being on the battlefield. But I don't think it's broken either. I think it's just a very good, solid card. A tier. I think it's an A tier card. Someone's probably gonna fight me on that. No, Nikachu, that thing's broken. Broken, I say. I mean, the moment it comes into play, like, what's the earliest you can get in play? Turn 2? Yeah, you can't even, like, Jeweled Lotus this thing into play. Okay, next up we got Kagan Super Chat. I don't know if this changes anything, but Urlock goes infinite with Urlock of Scorched Thrash plus Leyline of the Abundance plus Umbral Mantra to kill everyone but you. Changes nothing. Yes, with any card on this list, you can, if you combo it with 4 more cards, yeah, you go infinite. I'm sure there's a Circle of Dreams Druid infinite combo as well. Untap your Circle of Dreams Druid, go infinite mana. You know, any of these cards can go infinite. I wouldn't call Dockside a mana dork. Needs to tap or sack for mana voluntarily. That's the bar we have here. Okay, next up, let's take a look at... So we're going to donate that super chat. That was a big super chat. Faye the Burrow Elder. Faye the Burrow. Burrows? Faye the... I don't know what this is. Hold on, Faye, stolen by Faye. I can't find it. Okay, well, moving on. Christopher B, Weaver of Currents. Okay, we have a green, blue-green, 1 generic, 2/2, Naga Druid. We have tap, add double colors to your mana pool. It's not bad. Oh, I don't know if it's good, but it's not bad. I'm gonna put that into the B tier. Safely in the B tier over here. Is it, like, to put on anything? So, like, go turn 1 Dork into Weaver of Currents. Nah. It's good enough. It's good. We'll just leave it at that. Okay, next up. Robert. with Rodeo Pyromancers. This is a red 3 generic 3/4 human mercenary. Whenever you cast your first spell each turn, add double red. Does this count? Ranking 1 okay, I said mana creatures. Okay, I'm gonna count this. Yeah, we might as well count this thing. I said mana creatures. I gotta go back and look at the other suggestion. I guess if it's a creature that adds mana, it counts. Okay, we have whenever you cast your first spell each turn, add double red. It's not bad, but it's like it's really clunky. It's a 3/4 for 4 mana. But I guess it's what, it's supposed to be some sort of storm. No, it's only your first spell. Only the first spell. You can't abuse it. It's not bad, but it's not good. B tier. Commander play. We got B tier. We should replace B with C and just call it Commander Playable. Just stands for something. Oh, was it Faye Burrow? Okay, we'll look up Faye Burrow. Christopher B knows every single card in existence. 3 mana for a 0/0 Tree Folk Druid. Vigilance. Gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. Which is what, gonna max out at 5? Tap for each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color. Again, not great, not bad. We're gonna put it in the B tier. The thing is, like, you know, it's a 3 mana. If it's a 3 mana card that adds mana, that's pretty underwhelming in my opinion. It's not like that's not busted. Then we had, like, what's it called? We had the this Urlock guy. All right, has vigilance, has some abilities attached to it. I like the synergy. I like where we're going here. Next up, let's take a look at a super chat coming from Baron Brendan. Baron Brendan, thank you very much. Accomplished Alchemist. It's always a pleasure to not be at work during the stream. Of course, Accomplished Alchemist. Accomplished Alchemist is a green 3 generic 2/5 elf druid. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Tap, add X mana of any one color, where X is the amount of life you gained this turn. This sounds so hard to pull off. So we have a 4 mana mana dork that can add extra mana if I gained life this turn. Too many working pieces. And it's also quite expensive. C tier. C tier with you. Okay, next up. Waking Dead says, I swear Riven Turnbull is just as good, if not better, than Lotus Guardian. What the hell? Okay, Riven Turnbull. Oh, this card's absolute trash. Okay, 7 mana, 5/7, adds a black. Yeah, this card's... We gotta fill up the D tier somehow. Boys and girls, we gotta fill up the D tier somehow. There it goes. Okay, Mommy Dova with Mirror Covenant. It's one of my favorites. I like the mirrors, huh? Oh, sorry, Mirror Convert is one of my favorites. We have a 2 mana 2/1 with Toxic 1. Tap, pay 2 life, add 1 mana of any color. So it's like... So players dealt damage by this creature also get a poison counter. It's like a weird mana rock. So it's a mana rock that's a creature. And you have to pay 2 life to get that 1 mana. I really can't put in the C tier, but I don't want to put in the A tier either. So we go... Whoops. Whoops. Recopy that again. Let's go on to the B tier. The B tier where you belong. It's okay. It's solid. Next up, we're gonna look at Kagan's Incubation Druid. There's like some pretty nifty combos with this, right? Incubation Druid, a green 1 generic 0/2 elf druid. Tap, add 1 mana of any type that a land you could you control could produce. If Incubation Druid has a +1/+1 counter on it, add 3 mana of that type instead, and is adapt 3. So it is like a mana dork that is definitely going to tap to add 1 mana of any color. But the deal is, it can get a lot, the creature can get a lot bigger, and then later on, it will gain a lot more mana. And it's going to be dangerous. Okay, I have not much to say. I think that this is more A tier worthy than the other cards. I like that it's like a solid, like at its worst, Incubation Druid is like just a regular mana rock, but at its best, it's Black Lotus, right? It's like Black Lotus every single turn. And also, you don't need to adapt 3 on it. I mean, you could just put +1/+1 counters on it by some other means, if you actually can. Okay, next up, let's take a look at Gavin, Ashaya, Soul of the Wild. I didn't spell that right. Oh no, did I even click enter? Okay, good. Ashaya, Soul of the Wild. We have a 5 mana elemental. Its power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. Non-token creatures you control are forest lands in addition to their other types. So it gets big. It's as big as the lands in play. Non-token creatures you control are forest. That is so weird. It's actually not technically, well, it does not technically add mana. It just turns everything else into a mana, like into a forest. I don't know how to evaluate this card. I actually think it's a bit weird. Is there a see, there's some combos to this, right? Non-token creatures you control are forests. So if you can untap your creatures, it can tap for a forest itself. Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, non-token creatures, so it's actually, so it is like weird ramp by itself. But it's gotta be non-tokens. Okay, we can give it the A tier. This seems like an interesting bomb later in the game. It's like one of the, like this card is the type of card that can scale from 5 mana to 10 mana to play something insanely big. Because you're gonna have like some number of creatures that are on the battlefield. It's not like it goes from 4 mana to 6 mana. Like if you get to untap with your Ashaya, or even the turn that it comes into play, you could probably play Ashaya and something else really large on the same turn, and on the following turn you just go completely bananas. Okay, next up, let's take a look at Toad's Somber Walled Sage. If I remember correctly, that is like a sad panda card. It is a 3 mana 0/1 to tap to add 3 mana of any one color, but you have to spend the mana only to cast creature spells. So like, you can only be fair with this card, not unfair. It's not terrible though. You have no option to play like non-creature spells, so I'm gonna put in the B tier. It is a lot of mana though. It's a lot of mana. Next super chat, we're gonna take the $5 one from Dark Star Ashura. Thank you so much. 2 for 1 because they're basically the same card. Mana Weft Sliver and Gemhide Sliver. Well, you just have to give me one of them. Mana Weft. The Mana Weft Sliver. Is Gemhide any different? Gemhide. All slivers have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Slivers you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Alright, so green 1 generic 1/1. I actually don't love these slivers all that much, because the slivers, I mean, maybe it's okay, maybe it's a little bit better than I think, because it helps you get to your like Wooburg mana, you know, play your Sliver Queen, play your Sliver Overlord. So you do have to, it's like more playable in Commander. They're not that good in Pioneer. Like, they're not good in Pioneer. They weren't good in Modern. They weren't good in Legacy. So, like, in competitive Magic, this Sliver sucks. That you're much better. It's not good in... does Pauper even play it? I don't know if Pauper plays these cards. I know they're, like, more heavy on, like, the Lords, the interactive Slivers. Like, that's much more important. These things are just, like, 2 mana 1/1s. But for slivers in Commander, it's like a lot more playable because, you know, your mana, the more mana you have, the better you are off in Commander. Like, whoever has a mana lead, either through ramping, mana rocks, digging for, like, Farseek-like cards, you're better off. So I will give the sliver that much. It's hard to get the head of a sliver. But I can't give it a really high evaluation. It's like, it's fine for a Commander card. I'm going to put it in the B tier. All right, we hear the music. That means we got to thank our sponsor today, FusionGamingOnline.com. Looking for the new Fallout cards? Well, you have nowhere best to look. No, look nowhere else than FusionGamingOnline.com. They got the Fallout Commander decks waiting in store for you to buy them. We're also don't forget, as spoilers come out for Outlaws of Thunder Junction, you can get and pre-order your singles from FusionGamingOnline.com. And you know what would be better even yet for you is when you use coupon code Nikachu at checkout to get 5% off all your purchases. Support yourself and supports the channel. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. So when those Outlaws of Thunder Junction cards come out, is it good to upgrade your deck with them? Well, you can find out by renting first, buying the cards and paper later. Support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months at Mana Traders using coupon code Nikachu_FL0 when you're renting cards on Magic Online. Remember, this is a renting card. It's a renting system on Magic Online. All right, next up. Are we at... I'll just look at a super chat. Okay, I did this one already. We have another Dark Star Ashura one. Devoted Druid! Guaranteed S tier. You're not wrong. Devoted Druid is a green... one generic 0/2 that taps out a green, but it's got the ability to put a -1/-1 counter on Devoted Druid. Untap Devoted Druid! I mean, there's a million ways you can basically combo off with this for 1,000,000 mana, infinite mana. There's like so many different 2-card combinations, whether it be with Vizier of Remedies, or essentially you need a card in play that will... You can either give Devoted Druid like infinite toughness every single time it gets a -1/-1 counter, or every single time it has a counter on it. You could make sure that like there are cards in play that say creatures can't get -1/-1 counters. So you attempt to put the -1/-1 counter on, you untap it, but it doesn't get it anyway. So you have infinite mana. Pick and choose how you want to go for infinite mana. This is a very... I would also say it's a somewhat easy S tier like card. Toilet Duck. Citadel. What's a Citadel? It's not Citadel. Citadel. Hierophants. 4 mana for a 3/2 creature. Each creature you control gains tap, add green to your mana pool, place ability as a mana source. Not bad! That's not bad. I sort of like it. It's not C tier worthy. B tier. Right with that sliver, mana dork. Right with that sliver, mana dork. Urza, Lord High Artificer for blue mana. I'm gonna give... It's not a super chat, but like... Urza, you know, because I changed this thing into like mana creature, not mana dork, I guess Urza Lord High Urza Lord High Artificer counts. 4 mana, 4/1. With a bunch, it puts a construct in play. You can shuffle your library for 5 mana and exile the top card and play it until end of turn. Also, all your artifacts gain tap. An untap artifact you control, add blue mana. So this construct that enters the battlefield, you can immediately tap that for mana. There's a very cheatsy card to put on this list. S tier. Very S tier like card. Mordrek, Priest of Forgotten Gods. This card is very hard to use, but if you can pull it off, the card is absolutely bonkers. It's a 1/2 human cleric. Tap, sack 2 other creatures. Any number of target players lose 2 life, and they have to sacrifice a creature. Then you add 2 black mana, and you draw a card. So for the 2 creatures that you sack, you at least get 1 card back, and you'll get an extra mana in order to, I don't know, progress your interest or whatever. Now you can sack tokens, which makes Priest of Forgotten Gods a lot more forgiving on your, you know, card disadvantage. But also, you're not even really losing all that much, because you do lose 1 creature, but then you make your opponent sack a creature, so it's at card parity. So really, in the end, you just netted 2 black mana, although you do have to replace your creatures with something, but that's what the mana is for. I think this is an A tier card. Very hard to use, though. Like, you really have to build your deck around this type of thing. But if it goes off, it goes off. Oh, you just add double black. It would be interesting. You add double black for each opponent if you're facing. It'd be great. Next up, we have Alpha Nerd's Cami of the Whispered Hope. Cami of Whispered Hope. Whispered Hopes! This is your favorite card? Really? Okay, let's take a look at it. It's a 3-mana 1/1 spirit. If one or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a permanent you control, that many +1/+1 counters are put on that permanent instead. You also tap that X mana of any one color where X is Cami of Whispered Hope's power. Okay, interesting. The bigger you make this thing, the more mana you get. I like that. And I have a feeling that no one is going to kill it so easily. I'll put this on the A tier list. Can it buff everything else out? If one or more +1/+1 we put on a permanent you control. Oh, it's hardened scales. Oh, I'm sorry. It's hardened scales plus a mana dork. Okay, I like that. No problem. Boosting Witch Engine suggestion for chat. Where is it? Oh, Erlin's Witch Engine. Witch Engine! Which engine? This engine. You guys like that? Okay, 6 mana, 4/4 with Swamp Walk. Tap, add quadruple black to your mana pool. Target opponent gains control of which engine? Is that supposed to be good? Or like... I don't like this card!
No! God, please, no!
It's 6 mana. Which at this point, like, I'm hoping to play my... Like, what do I need more ramp for? What am I ramping to? Am I trying to play Emrakul? And then I don't even get this thing permanently. If the card I ramped into dies, I'm screwed. Unless there's something like really good. Unless there's something like some insane synergy or combo that I don't know about this card. I'm putting it straight in the C tier. And isn't it going straight to the C tier? Pacers fan forever with Metalworker. Boop. That is a big one. Okay, I gotta rearrange the S tier list because we now have too many bangers on this list. 3 mana, 1/2 artifact creature. Reveal any number of artifact cards in your hand. Add 2 colorless mana to your mana pool for each card revealed this way. And in a pure artifact deck, that basically says you're gonna get like 12 mana easily. And then all of a sudden you realize everyone's gonna look at the table. Enemy spotted. Like the Metalworker player is getting out of control. This is definitely an S tier level card. Okay, it's going S tier. I'm gonna move some of these dorks though. Okay, Noble Hierarch is gonna go to A tier. Ignoble Hierarch will also go to A tier. I think that's fine for now. Not in love with these things over here, but like, you know, Metalworker, Urza, Delighted Halfling. I mean, these are just worlds better than the rest of these cards. Uh-oh. How do I rearrange these cards? We'll get another S tier card somewhere to fill the gap. It'll show up. As soon as Metalworker hits the battlefield, you're probably dead. Well, not really. Oh, you mean the player who plays Metalworker is probably dead. That's probably true. Should be another tier above S tier. Probably. Probably this show should be like S++, S, A, B, C, and then that's it. Or we even get rid of the C. We could just have D. The D tier is so lonely. Javier, Lotus Cobra. Lotus Cobra, green 1 generic 2/1 snake, landfall. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, add 1 mana of any color. The beautiful thing about Lotus Cobra is that it curves right into 5 drops if you're playing with fetch lands. So turn 2 Lotus Cobra, then turn 3, play a fetch land, crack for the fetch land, play, get another land in play. Hold on, does that work? Does it work like that? Or land? Oh, you need like turn 1 mana dork, Lotus Cobra, and then you go fetch land, add a mana. Oh, no, it does work. 2, yeah. You have 2 lands in play. Next turn, you play a fetch land, you get a mana. That's your 3rd mana. You crack the fetch land to get a land. That's your 4th mana. You tap that 3rd land for mana. That's 5 mana. All right. I figured it out. Put a pat. Give me a pat on the back. A tier. Very good A tier card. Very worthy, too. Alpha Nerd, also with the super chat. Apprentice Wizard Old Blue Ramp. Isn't this like a card completely power crept out of the game? Oh no, it's not that bad. Okay, yeah, 3 mana for a 0/1, pay a blue, filter it into triple colorless mana. I've seen worse out there before. C tier. Sorry, not C tier, B tier. I don't mind. Larry Law, Birch Lord Rangers. For the elf players. It's a good solid card. It's a green 1/1. Now it's got Morph, which is useless, but tap 2 untap elves you control to add 1 mana of any color in your mana pool. It's basically a crappier Heritage Druid, but works all the same. So if you have a bunch of elves that you're playing and they're doing nothing because they have summoning sickness, just tap them for extra mana. They're very good. They're very good mana dorks in that way. So we put that in the A tier as well. It's a bit of a weird. This is more of a build around A tier card though. If you don't, it's like Heritage Druid. Like it's only good in an elf deck. It's not good anywhere else. Next up, Old Boy with Lotus Guardian, because any card with Lotus in its name is OP. I have a feeling we're being sarcastic here. Is that the 7 mana thing that adds 1 mana? Yeah, it is. It's the 7 mana thing that adds 1 mana. I have no words. No words whatsoever. We'll just move on as if that didn't happen. Okay, plus, with Vesper Ghoul. In my old jank decks, it's a nice fixer. Are you trying to imply to me that this is a jank card? This is a 3 mana 1/1 zombie druid. Tap, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. This is like worse than the other 3 mana cards that add mana. But you do get to add 1 mana of any color, so I'll put in the C tier. So basically, at B tier, we have a lot of 3 mana cards that add mana, but there's like some extra ability attached to it. This one doesn't. This one just literally is just, it's like a mana dork late to the show, really, right? It's the black mana dork. So like a mana dork in black, it starts at turn 3. Have we done the Great Henge? No, because that is an artifact. That is not a creature. West Coast Games. David with Under Mountain Adventure. Adventurer. 4 mana, 3/4 Vigilance. When heirs of the battlefield, you take the initiative. Tap to add double green. If you've completed a dungeon, add 6 green instead. Where do I put this? This is a legacy playable card, if I remember correctly. It's not super popular because they prefer to go Boros, but if they want to go like Naya or even red green, they can go this direction. And for Commander players that don't know, the initiative is broken in one-on-one Magic. Like, it's completely, absolutely broken. So where do I put? I guess I'll put an A tier to be safe. It's so funny that this is a mana dork. It's not really good by mana dork standards. 4 mana to get 2 mana. Okay, this might be an S tier level card. But it's not quite good enough in Commander, and I don't think it sees enough play in the 60 card formats. If they banned all the other white and red initiative cards, they will definitely play Under Mountain Adventure. They definitely go that direction. By mana creatures, you mean creatures that make mana, or is a number missing? What do you mean? Creatures that make mana. See, this taps adds double green. If you completed a dungeon, you add 6. I don't expect you to complete the dungeon, but whatever. Okay, let's get to some of the bigger super chats. We got Jeremy with the Lotus Coral Granger. Some merfolk love. Lotus Coral. Is it called Lotus Coral? Granger? Is there such thing as a Granger? Lotus Coral. Lotus. What is this called? Lotus Coral Ranger, maybe? Jeremy, what's your card called? Lotus Coral. Lotus dash coral. That comes up with nothing. Lotus something? Lotus Cobra. There's no such thing as this thing. I'm gonna have to move on. Okay, Jeremy, if you can let me know what this card is, I'll look it up later. But until then, we're gonna have to donate to chat. So we'll give it to Chupacabra, the Nyx Bloom Ancient. I wonder if that Lotus Coral thing was like some sort of custom card on Google. That sounds like a custom-made card. Like it's not real. Okay, we have a 7-mana 5/5 elemental, Trample. If you tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much mana. This is actually quite a ridiculous card. So if you untap with the Nyx Bloom Ancient, I mean, you're basically gonna be dead. If you tap a permanent for mana... Oh, it's a permanent, so you can even tap the mana dorks. Yeah, no one can find that thing. Weird card. Okay, we will put this S tier, actually. I think this is an S tier like card. It's like one of those cards, like, if you don't deal with it, like, it just scales out of control like crazy. Next up, let's take a look at... Oh, no, okay. Oh, here's a simple one. Chaotic Good Games. Avacyn's Pilgrim. You know, it's a simple 1 mana 1/1 that adds white mana. It doesn't even deal damage to you. A tier. Simple but genius. You don't have to get fancy in this game. 1 mana that adds 1 mana. It's good stuff. It's like half of a Soul Ring. Think of it that way. It's half of a Soul Ring. We all know how good Soul Ring is. Just arguing with brocos. Apex forever, please. You're welcome. Okay, this is a 5-mana 6/6 Trampler. You may cast Broco's Apex Forever from your graveyard using its Mutate ability, but it doesn't add mana. It's disqualified. This literally doesn't add mana in any way or form. Oh, live? Yeah, believe it or not, that is the name of the YouTube channel. We are Nikachu MTG Live. We are here live. Okay, so next, hi, first time making it to the show. Welcome, Belrofontes. I probably butchered your name, but I apologize. I did my best. I suggest Axebane Guardian. Or Overgrown Battlement. I use both in my commander deck. I bet you do. This is the 3-mana 0/3 with Defender. Tap, add X mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool, where X is the number of creatures with Defender you control. So the good news is... this can add a lot of mana. The bad news is it's 3 mana by itself and has Defender, and you have to build your deck around it. I'm not going to say that this is a bonkers card, but I'm not going to say it's too bad, because if you do build your deck around this card, it can add a lot of mana. How you win the game, I don't know. That's your problem, but it will do what you want it to do. Okay, let's get back to some super chats. We got Jeremy Johnson. Oh, no, that was the one. That was the one. I don't think that card exists. Okay, Kagan, with Inga and Eska. Makes everyone, including themselves, one. Inga and Eska. How do I call it? Just Inga Eska. Inga, what is this? Is it just Inga? Or is there an Eska? Makes everyone, including themselves, one. I don't know what this is. Is there actually a card called Eska? Jeskai. I don't know this card. We are really unlucky with the super chats today. Like, you know, you guys gotta like write twice, click enter once. Is it a Sika? Okay, hold on. Let's look up a Sika. Asika. Oh, Inga. How did we not find Inga? Okay, Inga and Asika is a blue-green 2 generic 4/4 human god. Creatures you control have vigilance, and tap, add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells. It's a 4/4 creature for 4 mana, not too bad. Whenever you cast a creature spell, if 3 or more mana from creatures was spent to cast it, oh, we get to draw a card. I like that value. The Rainbow... Oh, they're on Rainbow Road. I gotta remember to take... Hold on, I'm gonna... I actually want to take a picture of this. Keeping this for my own purposes later. Looks like Rainbow Road from Mario Kart. Anyway, I like this card. A tier. I like its abilities. It might be hard to pull off. It might be a little bit more janky than I'm giving it credit for. But I like it. Next up, let's take... Who hasn't got a card yet? Dryad of the Elysian Grove actually does not add mana. It just... All the mana that you have at the moment, you can add 1 mana of any color. That's all it does. Henrik doesn't get a card yet. Okay, we got Curious Homunculus. I remember this card's trash. 2 mana for a 1/1. Tap to add a color to your mana pool. Spend this mana. Only cast an instant or sorcery spell. Which is going to be awkward in your instant sorcery spell deck. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 3 or more instants and or sorcery cards in the graveyard, you can transform this thing. You lose your mana dork? You do. But your instant and sorcery spells cost 1 less to cast, and it has prowess. I don't like it. I really don't like this card. I mean, maybe it's not that bad. You just have to flip it. The flip part is actually quite good. The front half sucks. But I guess it's worth it for the second half. I didn't read the super chat and was like, why does Nikachu insist on pronouncing Asika as if she were Japanese? Because, well, it still sounds like a Japanese name. Asika. Okay, next super chat time. We got Kagan with, oh no, with the K. We did this one. I'm not crossing out my super chats. Another Dark Star Shura. Thought Birds of Paradise was good. Wait until you see Lotus Guardian. Oh, we did that one. You super chat for nothing. Well, you didn't do super chat for nothing because no, Dockside don't count. ETB make mana like that? Nope. And sometimes it doesn't make mana at all. Stranger Candy didn't get one, so we're gonna donate that super chat to Stranger Candy. I haven't got one. Biofagus? Whatever that is. 2 mana for 1/3 human Tyrannid Wizard. Geometric Enhancement. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. If this mana is spent to cast a creature spell, that creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Huh? So add 1 mana of any color. If this mana is spent to cast a creature spell, it comes into play with an extra counter. Okay, it's okay. So it's like another... It's like, what's it called? It's like another Hardened Scales effect. And you know what? I mean, there's a lot of decks out there, they want the creature to enter the battlefield with a counter, because then you can, like, go proliferate like crazy. Gotta shrink myself. I need to make space here. We're running out of space in the A tier list. A lot of good mana dorks in this game. A lot of good mana dorks. Nikachu, you skip my... I'm giving preference to the people who donated $5 or more. You know, if you donate more money, I think they should get press. I will get through all the super chats. Don't worry, I'm not skipping anybody. But I gotta go in order. Sometimes I don't remember that. Some people super chat more money. Mana Weft Sliver. We did basically the sliver thing. It's over here. Oh, where's your sliver? It's over here. It's in the B tier. Okay, we got Shepherd of Rot from C24. The Shepherd of Rot. 2 mana for a 1/1, Zombie Cleric. Tap. Each player loses 1 life for each zombie on the battlefield. This does not add mana at all. Disqualified. Disqualify you! I know how to do it! Never mind, that's right. I will never mind. Pedgeman, you didn't get one. Does my very balanced commander, Kinnan Bonder Prodigy count? Oh yes, very balanced, in fact. Isn't this like a tier 0 commander? 2 mana 2/2. Whenever you tap a non-land permanent for mana, it adds 1 mana of any type that land produced. I would count this. Yeah, and that's broken. Why did they make it 2 mana? No, the Nyx Bloom Ancient costs 7 to do like something similar. And as on top of that, has an ability to use that mana with 7 mana. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a non-human creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Disgusting. I mean, arguably just busted. Broken. Always instant concede versus kin. What, like they show up to the table? I reveal my commander. It is Kin and Bonder Prodigy. Are you just going to leave the table and we're going to play a three-way game? Is that how it's going to work around here? Kinnan with another $5 super chat. We got the Weaver of Blossoms. Is one that would be great in werewolves. Ah, yes, werewolf decks. A bunch of 4 mana, 3/3 creatures. 3 mana for a 2/3. Add 1 mana of any color, and it's daybound, and it's a werewolf. To be honest, I don't think this. Then if you flips it, it's add 2 mana of any one color. I honestly don't think this is that good, even in a werewolf deck. The problem with the werewolf deck is, like, a lot of them are like 3 mana and 4 mana. So do you really want to be playing a werewolf on your turn 3? I think. Sorry, do you want to be playing like a mana dork on your turn 3? This is a very clunky mana dork, to be honest. I don't think it has synergy with the werewolves. I'm putting it in the C tier. Like, maybe to get to some planeswalker spells, but I think you just want to curve out werewolf turn 3, werewolf turn 4, and get on with those synergies. Okay, next up, we're gonna look at Steve Cooper's Bergie. Does Bergie got his storytelling? Yeah, I'll count Bergie. Oops. Also, Nyx Bloom Ancient doesn't add mana itself. I'm gonna count if it like adds mana through some nonsense, like Bergie does. When you cast a spell, add a red. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. The only weird thing is that this card doesn't go well in any like regular creature-based deck. It's mostly for like storm-like decks. But it is a creature that adds mana. I'll put it in the A tier. This might be B. Well, it has some combos. Combos, no combos. But it doesn't see that much play. It's like it's not that broken. Or maybe I should say it doesn't see any play. Hold on, it doesn't see any play in like one-on-one Magic, but it sees a lot of play in Commander. F it, I'm gonna put in the A tier. I don't care. I don't think it's that great. Why is there a hole in the S tier? Oh, you're right. Let's fill the hole. We got a big Kinnan. Is it Kinnan Bonder Prodigy? Whoops, sorry. We'll get back to that super chat later. Day/night doesn't Zyber. Oh, that's fine. Fabrico with Ramos. Oops, I looked you up. We want Ramos. Dragon Engine. The Dragon Engine, you say. This is a 6 mana 4/4 flyer. Whenever you cast a spell, put a counter on Ramos for each of that spell's colors. You play a 5 mana card, you get 5, effectively get 5 counters. Remove 5 +1/+1 counters from Ramos. Add double Wooburg. You to your mana pool. Activate this ability only once each turn. But you only need it once each turn. This card is... It's good. I don't know if it's insane. Can anyone give me some insight about Ramos? It's easy to enable. Like, if you're playing a Wooburg deck, like 2 spells and you've got it. So like you play, and if I guess you go 6 mana Ramos, you play basically any 2 random spells, you get your 5 counters, and you get double Wooburg. This has to be insane. This looks like it's a crazy card. Door to Nothingness mana. Yeah, and then you what's it called? You use that land to put it back on top of your deck. It's nice in charm decks. If you say it's nice, then it means it's not busted. A tier. Oh, we're running out of space in the A tier. We're gonna creep into the B tier. Who didn't get a card yet? Kano claims they did not get a card. Magus. No, wait. Magus Lucia? Oh, is this like the Magus of all Maguses? Magus Lucia Kane. It is a red, blue, green, 1 generic, 1/1 human tyrannid wizard. Spiritual leader. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It's not bad. Psychic Stimulus. Tap, add double colorless. When you next cast a spell with X in its mana cost or activate an ability with X in its activation cost, copy that spell or ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. It looks great. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you get a counter on a creature. And you're in the proliferate colors and everything. A tier. I don't know, maybe this is an S tier card. I'm putting the A tier anyway. The shame Leyline of the Guild Pack doesn't make spells all colors. It would be really funny. Oh yeah. It would, wouldn't it? Okay, next up we got Cunning Linguist at Deathrite Shaman. Deathrite! What are you doing? How did this card not get named yet? Yes! Okay, for Golgari, we have a 1/2 Elf Shaman. You tap it, exile target land from a graveyard, add 1 mana of any color. You know, this is a funny mana dork, though, because if there are no lands in the graveyard, or if there's nothing in the graveyard, this card has no power. It does nothing. You can also tap for a black to exile an instant or sorcery to have your opponents lose 2 life, or exile a creature for a green and tap it to gain 2 life. S tier. And most people don't even know this. This card's like so banned. Look, it's banned in Modern, banned in Legacy. Probably will not get banned in Vintage. Okay, we're now at the point of the show where I just have to get through the super chats. Sorry about that, Pacers fan forever. We did Bergie, God of Storytelling. You got sniped. I think you got... Who sniped that one? Okay, so but now that someone got sniped, we're gonna go back to the freebie section with Tracer, Troyan, Gutsy Explorer. It's a 3 mana 1/3 Vidalcan Scout, tapped out a blue and a green. But you gotta spend this mana only to cast spells with mana value 5 or greater, or spells with X in their mana cost. What a jip! And then we have a blue tap, draw a card, then discard a card. I don't like the restriction on how I'm allowed to use this mana at all. What's with the golden egg there? But it has some useful abilities. B tier. Next super chat from Cunning Linguist. The Bloom Tender. Cunning Linguist. Big super chat donator. I'm telling you, I would raise the super chat limit to $5, but YouTube doesn't let me do it. Bloom Tender, 2 mana, 1/1 Elf Druid. For each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color. So we tap for each color. Oh, that's great. This is a great card. So it's like a mana rock that can add 2 or more colors effectively, like at least 1, but probably more than that, right? I almost want to say this is S tier. This really isn't that hard to pull off. I don't know how many decks can play. Like, this is like a 2 mana card, and you can use that mana to put in to play any spell. Add 1 mana of that color for each color. Oh, but you can't add like 3 green from having like 3 colors on the battlefield. You have to add 1 of each. Hey, Bloom Tender, pretty interesting. Okay, next up we got Alpha Nerd's Land of War Loam Speaker. Great card. Says Alpha Nerd. Land of War Loam Speaker is a 2 mana 1/3 Elf Druid. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. Tap, target land you control becomes a 3/3 elemental creature with haste until end of turn. It's still land. Activate only as a sorcery. This card is okay. It's a steady Eddie card. Well, it's like at least a mana rock. Yeah, I'm gonna put in the B tier. Might be worth more than this. Star with Radiclaw Mystic. This is another one. It's just like a mana rock, but you have the option to morph it, and when you unmorph it, you add 3 mana to your mana pool instead. But 2 mana rock with no insanely exciting abilities, B tier. It's not amazing, but it's a solid card. That's what I would say. It's just a solid card. All right, Cunning Linguist, Marwyn the Nurturer. Marwyn the Nurturer is a 3 mana 1/1 Elf Druid. Whenever another elf enters the battlefield under your control, you may put a +1/+1 counter on Marwyn the Nurturer. Then we tap to add an amount of green equal to Marwyn's power. Oh, that's insane! These things can scale out of control quickly. Now, it's still 3 mana. So it's like sort of a slow kind of ramp, but the creature can get really big by itself. A tier. Okay, now the A tier is gonna like creep down into B tier as far as I'm concerned. We got the Naga Vitalist from Cunning Linguist. Naga Vitalist. This is a 2-mana 1/2. Tap to add 1 mana. Sorry, tap. Add to your mana pool 1 mana of any type that a land you control could produce. B tier. We have a lot of these 2-mana add mana cards here. Let's get really cozy with that Rattleclaw Mystic over there. John! With the Witch Engine. We did that one, didn't we? I think we did Witch Engine. Yeah, we did that one. Sorry about that, John. You got sniped. And with that, we will go to the freebie section. Your friendly neighborhood idiot. Liedenmere? All these mirrors are terrible. The poor mirror players. This is like one of the better ones because it's like 2 mana, add 1 mana. Alright, we got Liedenmere. Still pretty sad by most standards. B tier. Yeah, let's put it close to... Let's just put it over here. Right near the B list over here. Next up. Cunning Linguist Selvala. Selvala, Heart of the Wilds. Selvala, Heart of the Wilds, a 3 mana 2/3. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, its controller may draw a card. If its power is greater than each other creature's power, pay a green tap, add X mana in any combination of colors where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Insane! So this adds a lot of... So first off, this adds a lot of mana. The downside is you get other people can draw cards off of this card. But still, you're gonna promote yourself to like play a lot of big creatures, and like then Selvala, Heart of the Wilds is gonna add like a huge chunk of mana. And also, if you build your deck around this, you might be drawing more cards than your other opponents. So it's like each controller may draw a card if its power is greater than each other creature's power. Like each other on the board. It's yeah. So if you have the largest creatures and you're building your deck around a lot of big creatures, then other people can't draw cards because they're not going to be playing big creatures. S tier. Like this card. Yeah, you're in green. You probably have the biggest dummy. The biggest dummies that chain into more big dummies. Cunning Linguist with Sylvan Caryatid. Oh, that's a banger card. Sylvan Caryatid. 2 mana for a 0/3 Defender and Hexproof. Tap to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. This looks so lame, but it's actually just a stock staple in so many Magic the Gathering decks. The fact that even 2 mana for a mana dork usually is pretty weak. The fact that it's hexproof is what puts it over the top. And on top of that, it's a decent blocker, so you can like block a lot of puny things at 1 or 2 power. Sylvan Caryatid is actually a very, very, very good card. S tier. And it adds 1 mana of any color in your mana pool, so it's a really good mana fixing at the same time. Cunning Linguist is paying this man's water bill, and also all my coffee bills and my coffee addiction. Okay, we got Cheddar, Clockwork, Kobold. Omnath Locus of all is janky, but does add mana. Yeah, you could have chose a better Omnath out there. Alright, we got for Wooburg, a 4/4 Phyrexian Elemental. If you lose unspent mana, that mana becomes black instead. What? So hold on. What does that mean? So like, hold on, if I move phases, my Wooburg mana turns into black mana, and I get to keep it? At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, look at the top card of your library. You may reveal that card if it has 3 or more colored mana symbols as its mana cost. If you do, add 3 mana in any combination of its colors and put it into your hand. If you don't, reveal it and put it into your hand. I have no idea how good or bad this thing is. It looks terrible. It's 5 mana for a really unreliable source of mana. I like that you don't lose your mana, I guess. I'm putting the C tier, though. For a lot of words, you would expect that this thing would do better. I don't think it's doing better at all. Okay, Alpha Nerd with Illuminar Shirzas. Or Shiraz. Shiraz? Okay, there we go. The Illuminor. Just gonna call it that. The Illuminor. For 3 mana, 3/3 Necron. Secrets of the Soul. Tap, sack another creature, add an amount of black equal to the sacrifice creature's mana value. That's pretty good. So it's a 3 mana, 3/3 by itself, and sacking something else to ramp big. I like it. Black, yeah, for the mana. And also you could do it in response to somebody's removal spell. I think this is an A tier like card. So A tier is now going to creep into... Oh, no, we actually have some space on the A tier. We can put it up there. Bella Rafontes. Not good, but a merfolk. Benthic Explorer. Oh, is this what we were looking for the entire time? Oh, no, that was another super chat. Okay, Benthic Explorers. We got 4 mana, 2/4. Merfolk Scout, tap and untap. Untap a tap land an opponent controls, and 1 mana of any type that land could produce to your mana pool. Why do I want to do that? This is literally a 4 mana ramp spell that only adds 1 mana. And it also helps our opponent's mana. D tier. This card's terrible. This card's awful. It's an awful, awful, awful card. I guess it's like more for like fun, like to have fun with your friends or something, you know, giving them mana. You could also like, I don't know, help your opponent untap their Guy's Cradle or something, or their, I guess in support of somebody else, this card is useful, but it's not going to really help you. It's like, this is more of a group hug type card. Okay, next up, we'll go with Pacer Fans Forever's Crime Novelist. Crime Novelist is a red 2 generic 1/3. Whenever you sack an artifact, put a counter on Crime Novelist and add a red. Wasn't it supposed to break with something? I could have swore there's supposed to be some combo with this card. Whenever you sack an artifact, put a counter on this. I thought there was supposed to be some combo with this card. A lot of people were like really sweating the existence of this thing in spoiler season, but I don't know if it became anything. Because like whenever you sack like a treasure, you're basically getting double the treasures and you're making a gigantic crime novelist. So it has to be good for that reason. A tier. Really good treasure card. Treasure cards get out of control. Thought we need more bad cards. Well, yeah, we do. I didn't say there's nothing wrong with the bad cards, but it's a D tier like card. I appreciate some people like to fill up the D tier, and you're doing a great job of doing that. Great job. Thumbs up all around. Here. There are combos because of treasures, and then you probably have a card that makes tokens when you put the counters, if I recall correctly. Well, that's a lot of work. But you know what? Like for that, it is an A tier like card. Tetra Tim Bowman with Dryad Arbor. Oh yeah, how do we forget Dryad Arbor? Dryad Arbor. Green Sun Zenith for 0 on turn 1 for it. This technically isn't... No, I guess is this a... No, it's actually a land itself. So you actually can't play this thing. Like, it's not... Okay, hold on. Let me look at the title again. 1 hour of ranking mana creatures on a tier list. All right, it counts. You got me. You got me. The way I worded the title, you got me. And it is S tier because it can be searched out with, what's it called? As you said, the Green Sun Zenith. By technicality's sake, this is literally a creature that adds mana. And it's good because you can Green Sun Zenith for 0. Yeah, it adds green. It adds mana. GG. Yep. GG, everyone. Okay, Pacers Fan Forever's Karn Legacy Reforged. Okay, we got a Star Golem for 5 mana. Power and toughness are each equal to the greatest mana value among artifacts you control. Oh god, could be like 1 mana. It could be 1/1. At the beginning of your upkeep, add colorless for each artifact you control. Holy crap! This mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. Who cares? Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. This card's insane! This card's absolutely insane. It's worse than Metalworker, in my opinion, because Metalworker, you have to tap it for mana. How hard is it to... You'll probably have a bunch of artifacts in play by the time you cast this card. S tier. Love this card. Alpha Nerd says, Rootvine Mystic. Rootvine. Rooting Mystic? Where are we going wrong here, Alpha Nerd? Where are we going wrong? Oh, there's a lot of Mystic cards. Is it even a root card at all? Alpha Nerd, you correct yourself. Have we done birds? We have done birds. Karn is a 5/5 minimum. Oh yeah, because of himself. That's a true story, yeah. Just let Karn die, for Pete's sake. They keep killing and reviving Karn. Well, Karn is a machine. Karn can die an infinite number of times and bring it back. You just bring out Model J, Model Z, Model 104M7. Okay, Pastic, Mystical, Mystic, Lotus Eye. I don't see it. Dakra. What is the super chat? Rootvine Mystic. I need an R. Can I have an R? Ding, ding. LMNOP, QRS. A lot of M's. Root water. There's only one root. You meant me? Did you mean root water Mystic? Okay, it has to be root water Mystic. Thank you for spelling it wrong, Alpha Nerd. I appreciate it. Okay, we have a blue 1/1. Look at the top. No, this doesn't work. Is it? Oh, is it not Vine Mystic? That is a completely different card. Okay. We can take some time looking for this thing. This is like Where's Waldo? Okay, not. Okay. Elemento. There we go. Oh, we did it. We did our fam. We did a coffee crew. By we, I mean me. Okay, we have a 3 mana 2/2, pay 1, tap, add 3 to your mana pool. Which means, basically, it's add 2 to your mana pool, because you have to spend 1. You gotta spend mana to get mana around here. I invest 1 mana immediately. This is like a scam. Imagine someone came up to you and say, hey, if you give me 1 mana right now, I will give you 3 mana back. Just give me your PayPal address or whatever. Send me 1 mana versus your PayPal. I will give you 3 mana back. This is a complete scam, but it's real. Okay, it's a B tier card. Your cursor was right on the card about a dozen times. Well, I wasn't looking for not Vine Mystic, you know? Okay, Alpha Nerd with Bramble Familiar. Please let this thing actually, be easy. Bramble Familiar. The Bramble fam. Oh, here's a Steve Cooper card. It's a raccoon. It's a 2 mana 2/2. Tap to add a green. Also 2 mana, tap, discard a card, return Bramble Familiar to its owner's hand. That's sort of a crappy ability, to be honest. And it's got Fetch Quest. Sorcery. For 7 whole mana. Mill 7 cards, then put a creature, enchantment, or a land card from among the milled cards onto the battlefield. Okay, that's not bad. It's just janky. That's all it is. B tier. B tier for jank. MLM mana production? Well, it's worse than that. Alright, next up. Cunning Linguist says 5... Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go to the end. I'm gonna get through all the regular super chats just so people don't, like, snipe each other, so we'll get to that at the end. Ecos with Belb. The Corrupted Observer. For fast mana. For fast Eldrazi. 2 mana for a 2/2 zombie elf at the beginning of each player's post-combat main phase. That player adds colorless for each of your opponents who lost life this turn. That's not bad. I like that card. I like that card a lot. Oh, hold on. It helps everybody. At the beginning of each player's post-combat main phase, that player adds colorless for each of your opponents who lost life this turn. Oh, so it encourages... No, but it encourages people to attack other people, because it doesn't count if they attack you. That's a weird card. Okay, but it does help other people, so I'm going to put in the B tier. A little too helpful there. We're going to run out of space here real soon. David Sampson with the Grand Architect. Some combos with this card, but it is a 3 mana 1/3. Lord, because other blue creatures you control get +1/+1. For a blue, target artifact creature becomes blue until end of turn. I don't know how you intend on abusing that in a fair way, but go for it. Tap an untapped blue creature you control, add double colorless. Spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifact creatures. Activate abilities of artifacts. So the awkward thing is this, you need a balance of like artifacts to get a payoff and also blue creatures to enable this. There is a Pilla-Palla combo, but it's like, it's a little bit jank. But the combo does exist. Still, I find this card a little janky for my taste, so I'm gonna put it into the B tier. There are some decks built completely around the Grand Architect, but I don't think they are. They're okay, I guess. Like, they're okay. We're a little past an hour. Oh yeah, we're way past an hour. I'll call it a 2 hours ranking mana creatures on a tier list. Okay, Ecos with Karzi Deceiver. OP makes morph good, please nerf. Are you serious? Okay, we have a 2 mana 0/4, the Naga Wizard. It is also tap. Add 1 to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast a face down creature spell. Pay a mana cost to turn a manifested creature faced up, or pay a morph cost. This is terrible. And it's so narrow too. To tap to add mana to your mana pool, but only to cast face down creature spells, like to morph things out. I hate it. It's probably fine in a morph deck, but outside of morph deck, it's like really, really niche. C tier. Pacers fan forever. Did you tell the Pacers that? Slow bad. Iron Goblin. Slow bad is a 3 mana 3/3 Phyrexian Goblin Artificer. Tap, sack an artifact, add an amount of red equal to the sacked artifact's mana value. Spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or activated abilities of artifacts. Very narrow. Also, a lot of the better artifacts are not going to be expensive, and if you spend a lot of mana on an artifact, I don't even know if you want to sacrifice it. So, like, if you want to get 4 mana from 4 mana artifact, like, what kind of value did you get out of it? There's probably something to use from this, like you pay 4 mana, and the artifact enters the battlefield, you draw a card or get some ability out of it, but most of the artifacts that you're going to sacrifice are just going to be like, what, 1 mana, 2 mana? Which is not terrible. Just not terrible. Yeah, it's not terrible, but I'm still going to put it in the C tier. Still going to put it in the C tier. Ecos with the Unicorn. A Darkar Unicorn, to be specific. White mana dork, yeah, never again. The 3 mana 2/2 tap to add either a blue or this looks like an AI generated card. You can either add a blue or you can add a blue. Which one of these blue do you want to add more? Blue or blue? The choice is yours. You can have A blue, B blue, or C blue. Kidding, there's more words to it. So you add a blue or blue and 1 colorless to your mana pool. This mana is usable only for cumulative upkeep. Oh god. The song speaks for itself, everyone. The song speaks for itself. Wait, that's some Oracle text? Okay, there is no nobler creature in all of Teresier, General Karkel, the Arctic Fox. Means nothing to me. Okay, Pacers fan forever. We've got Urabrask. Danger in Spellslinger desks. Urabrask. It was Urabrask. Don't misspell commander cards with me, all right? On which one? Urabrask, Danger. There's a million Urabrasks. This one? Come on, I don't know commander that well, damn it. I hope it's this one. This one it's expensive too. This one's $500. Holy crap. You must feel really lucky if you get the, what's it called? The card that ends up on Scryfall, one of the serialized cards. We got 292 over here. Okay, this thing is... Hold on, give me a second here. It's a 4-mana 4/4, Phyrexian Praetor. It says, first strike. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it deals 1 damage to target opponent, and you add a red. That is very good. And you also pay in red to exile it, return it to the battlefield. You can only, whatever. Some conditions apply. It becomes the great work. Chapter 1 deals 3 damage. I'm not gonna, okay, we're just gonna say it has extra abilities. I think this is a great card. Yeah, Urabrask, I think, you play, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you get the red mana and you get the damage. Like, this is very similar to Burgi. It's very, very similar. Except just a lot more extra abilities. So it's like Burgi plus. So I can put this in the S tier. Strictly better Burgi. Maybe not strictly better. It does cost 1 extra mana, but you get a lot more for that extra mana. Did I do my yoga? Okay, everyone, no more super chats. The tiers are getting full, and Nikachu got to go make his bed and sweep. What are you talking about? Okay, well, we have 5 more super chats. 5 donated to chat. So everyone who hasn't got a card yet, we get 5 more cards here. Okay, who definitely didn't get a card? Who are people who are not Pacers fan forever? We got Hefty over here with Gwenna. Eyes of Gaia. This 3-mana card is a 2/3. Tapped at 2 mana in any combination of colors, but you gotta spend the mana only to cast creature spells or activated abilities of creature cards. Of a creature or creature card. Whenever you cast a creature spell with power 5 or more or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on Gwenna, Eyes of Gaia, and untap it. Oh! This is worth a lot of mana then. So if you play a 5-drop, you get to untap it and play more stuff. The only problem is it has to be on creatures. So like the untapping might not go that far, but still pretty good. All right, A tier. Oh god. Okay, we're just gonna have to go behind the A over here. You can see a bit of Gwenna's head. It works. Cheddar! I supered a card, but Faber Elder is just a Heaper Bloom Tender. Huh? So what do you want? Fabero? Did we do Fabero? I think we did Fabero. I think we did Fabero. Yeah, we did it. Rough! Ashaya, Soul of the Wild. Didn't we do this one as well? We did this one. Mario, Hulking Raptor. Did we like go through every mana creature? 4 mana for a 5/3 with Ward 2. That's strong. Oh, and it's also a dinosaur. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add double green. Excellent! I like that card. A tier. Oh, damn it. The A tier is like so full. A lot of good cards in Magic. Okay, move over, you mana rock making thing. We have to put it behind the A. That's what we gotta do now. That's the room that we are left with in the A tier. Behind the A, there's always room. There's always room for dessert. Turiat with Diamond Lion. This is the 3rd one. This card is terrible. 2 mana 2/2. That's the best. It only gets worse from here. Tap, discard your hand, sacrifice Diamond Lion, add 3 mana of any one color, activate only as an instant. Lion's Eye Diamond, great combo card. Not very good in creature artifact form, because the creatures have summoning sickness. Wait, has Dockside been done? The most bannable card? We haven't done Dockside. I don't like Dockside, because in theory it might not make anything. Like, you can't force the mana. If no one has any artifacts on the battlefield, it'll be literally a 2-mana 1/2. Okay, what are we? Okay, who else has not got a card? Luis, Magus of the Coffers. Oh, is it? This is literally Cabal Coffers on a creature. It is 5-mana 4/4. Why do I have to make it so expensive? 2-mana tap, add a black to your mana pool for each swamp you control. Like, so expensive. 5 mana for this thing? Too expensive. So because it costs so much, I'm gonna put in the B tier. I think the ability is strong though. Ability is better than it looks. And one more. Ornithopter Paradise, a real card. I think that's a fake card. Who did not get a card? I'm gonna look for someone who didn't get squat today. I'm gonna dig. We're gonna dig into the chat. Who got nothing? Cheddar. Okay, hold on. I don't know if Cheddar successfully got one off. Omnath, Locus of Mana. It literally says mana in its name. Okay, 3 mana for a 1/1. You don't lose unspent mana as steps and phases end. Omnath, Locus of Mana gets +1/+1 for each unspent green mana you have. That's terrible. That's awful. So it encourages you to waste your mana. What a wasteful creature. I think I'm going to put this in the C tier. It's like, just spend all your mana and don't do anything with it. Okay, and that's it. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Does that even do anything? You don't lose mana. It gets +1/+1 for each unspent. Oh, yeah, you're right. This is a buzzer. This is a buzz card. Get it out of here. It didn't actually add mana at all. It does something with the mana. Okay, we're disqualified. Yeah, more of a battery than a mana maker. Okay, Dinglebag. One more. Rasheen. Okay, we have a 4-mana 4/4 Giant Shaman. Tap, add quadruple colorless to your mana pool. Spend this mana only on costs that contain X. Holy moly! But those X mana cards are gonna go bonkers. It's still 4 mana for like the weirdest mana dork of all time. C tier. It's narrow. It's got to be on X mana spells, which are like sort of awkward in my opinion. All right, that's it. Here's our tier list. Would you have made the same thing? Did I underrate or overrate cards? You can always let me know in the comments section below. I always love hearing the opinions of everybody. And of course, that's it for Coffee and MTG today. We do this 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Although I'm threatening to maybe change it to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I don't know how much people are going to like that. When I do it in the evening, I seem to get the same number of people out anyway. But I sort of need to clear my... You know what? Alternatively, I could go back to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Would it be better if people saw it like super, super, super early? Like a genuine morning show? You let me know. I should do a poll. What would be the easiest time for everyone? Because this is getting awkward. This is like in the middle of my day. It's a little awkward. At the very end of the day or the very beginning of the day might be better for me. I know the support. Coffee and MTG is brought by supporters and viewers like you. The people who are patrons on Patreon, members on YouTube, or people who super chat to be part of the show, and also super chat to help other people be part of the show. And for that, I just keep doing this every day. This is like a train that just doesn't stop. Just keeps on going on and on and on and on, on and on and on and on and on. And of course, thank you very much, everyone who shows up in the morning here because you guys are the show. People like Just Arguing, Your Friendly Neighborhood Idiot, Toads, Jess. We've got David, Bella, Dinglebag, Cheddar, Your Friendly Neighborhood Idiot, Toilet Duck, Mordrak, Cunning Linguist, Bryce, Mario, because you guys are the show. So as usual, my coffee crew, keep bringing up them coffees and we'll keep bringing up the magic. Take care of yourselves and I will see you at the next cup.